Welcome back to My Transgender Nation. Today we start Season 2, Coming Out, Interviews with Jessica. First up is an interview with my daughter Kelly. Been looking forward to making this video. I think it's gone really well. I hope you enjoy it. And please like, subscribe, share, and comment if you want to see any particular videos. We can work on those in the future. All right, enjoy. Talk to you soon.
Hi, my name is Charlene Chiaro, and I'm from My Transgender Nation. Today we have Jessica, who has told us her story. Jessica is a transgender woman, and we have with us today Kelly, her daughter. And we're going to be talking about their relationship and how their experience might be able to help any of you out there who have questions or have concerns about talking to their family. And so we wanted to welcome Jessica and Kelly today.
Thanks.
Hi.
Great to be here.
Okay. So, you know, you guys have a great relationship, and Kelly, you've been very supportive of Jessica's transition, but I wanted to talk to you today about what was your relationship like when Jessica was CJ, and how is that different today that she's Jessica?
Well, if you're talking about my relationship with my father, my relationship with my dad, who is Jessica now and was CJ before, has never changed. And that's one of the easiest parts for me going through this transition as a daughter with my dad, is because my dad's always my dad. And CJ was and still is my dad, and Jessica has always been my dad, but just became my dad. But our relationship, I don't think, has changed at all. And that's
I think it's gotten better myself, but
well, I mean, yeah, but we never had
no, we never had a bad. We never were in a bad place to begin with. So
no. But as far as from a daughter standpoint, my dad's always been my dad, and like I said, CJ is still my dad, and Jessica has always been my dad. So that's how I kind of feel about it.
So Kelly, let's take you back to the day when your dad told you that that he wanted to transition to become Jessica.
Actually, it's more like when Kelly found out as opposed to when I told her.
Yeah.
So I'll let her tell that story.
Yeah, tell that story to us.
This is my favorite story. Oh my God. If anyone ever wants to tape me telling this story, I'll do it 1,000 times over again. This is my favorite story.
There you go.
My parents divorced. I was living in this big house that I grew up in with my family of 4, right? My mom, my dad, and my sister. And after divorce, my sister going to college, just me and my dad. And there had been things that started happening because I'm also like kind of a nosy person. And so, but whatever. The main theme was that I would come home whenever I wanted, unannounced, and I was out of high school. I was 19. No, more like 18, but still, like, I was out of high school, right? So I'd come in and out of the house unannounced all the time. I come home one time, middle of the afternoon, mind you, and I come up through the basement. The basement door entered through, like, the dining room, and then the kitchen, living room, staircase upstairs. It was like, you know, the whole, I don't know what you call that in real estate, but so I come up, and then all of a sudden I just start hearing this, like someone's shuffling. And then I look, and I see my dad running up the stairs in what looks like a jazzercise outfit with what looked like a wig in my dad's hand. And And it's the middle of the day, and I'm like, oh, I come home and I was like, it's just probably like a big hair like face, like just reliving like the 80s. I don't know what you guys did back then, or like, like just right. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I chuck it up. There was other things that I found. I found like, like a female clothes in one of your drawers one time. And I was like, oh, it's probably just, missing mom. Maybe it's like one of her sweaters, whatever. And then the real kicker was I came home one day. There was a package sent to the house with our address. And it said, Jessica Riley, 7, like blah, 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 our address. So I call my dad and I say, hey, like someone with a really sketchy, made up seeming name I didn't say that specifically, but it was like some Jessica Riley got a package sent to the house. And, but it has her address on it. So like, can I open it? Because I'm really curious. Because like I said, I'm a curious person. And my dad was like, nope, don't open that. Don't open it. Don't open it. That's for my friend. That's my friend. That's for my friend. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I know all of my dad's friends. Like it's always sick how many of my dad's friends I know. Like I don't even think anyone knows all of their parents' friends from their entire lifetime of friends, but I know every single one of my dad's friends. And then I also thought like Jessica Riley sounds like a fake ass made up name. And then there was one other thing where there was like a laser hair removal, like happy holidays from your laser hair removal people. But the package from Jessica Riley, that was the big stuff, right? So I drive to my best friend's house, which is 15 minutes away. And she's living with her brother and all of his friends. And this is like my family at this point. Like this is like, I'm there every single night. I'm like, I'm basically living there. So I show up. I'm like, hey guys, what's up? Like, I just got to say, I think my dad is a cross-dresser. I think my dad's like a drag queen or something,
Drag queen.
And they're like, you're crazy because it's me. And they're like, you're being this dramatic, making up these, these stories in your head and blah, blah. I'm like, no, but like, I really think, and it's all ha-has, because I'm just like, entertaining them with stories. And I tell them these things. I'm like, but this happened and this happened. And now I'm just getting to the point where I'm like, maybe my dad's a cross-dresser. And so they hype me up. They're like, if you think that, Kelly, you just go home. Go home, ask your dad. Like, you're close with your dad. You love your dad. Like, just go home and ask your dad. So they get me hyped up. I'm like, you right? Like, shouldn't I just ask? Like, right? So they get me all hyped up. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to come right back. I'll just tell you guys what happened. So I drive there, 15 minutes back, and come home unannounced, as I always do. Mind you, the hair in the hand thing happened, I don't know, a year and a half before. So it's not like you were starting to slip up. Like that one time happened where I came home unannounced and you kept it tight, right? So there's no reason why I go home this one time to bring it up to my dad. I come up through the basement door. Like I said, you can see the staircase and you also see the living room through the kitchen. I look through the kitchen and I think immediately, fuck, I can't bring it up right now because there's some strange woman in my house that I don't know who it is. So they all see this blonde hair. And then I hear she would freak out if she knew. And the blonde hair turns, looks at me and goes, oh, fuck. And then sprints upstairs. And I was like, oh, that was my dad. Okay. All right. So, like, not even with any shock in me, like, I'm so cool, calm, and collected. I'm just like, ha, ha, ha. I'm like, doo, doo, doo. I just go out through the kitchen, onto the back deck, light up a cigarette, like, happy as a clam, like, cheesing my face off. my dad comes down, so disheveled, like put on whatever that didn't look like woman's clothes as quickly as possible, obviously. And just says, so, oh, you want to talk about this? And I'm like, exhale my cigarette. I'm like, well, actually, I came home just to bring this up. And my dad's like, what do you mean? I came here to ask you if you were, and so.
Cross-dresser, drag queen.
And then that's when my dad was like, all right, well, you want to come and look in my closet? And I was like, oh my God, yes. And then we ran up to your closet and you showed me all your best outfits. And I was
yes, but first I told her that I wasn't a cross-dresser drag queen, that I was actually transgender. And we went from there.
Yeah.
So Jessica, what was that experience like for you?
Oh, I was pretty much ready to poop in my pants at this point. Are you kidding me? So, I mean, you got to remember, I'm going to tell my daughter that her dad isn't really a man, and that he's planning. Now you got to remember, I'm at this point. I've already been on hormones, and she doesn't know it. But no, that's not really noticeable at this point.
No, it was so noticeable though. It really was. Sorry to
Oh, really? Was it? Okay, I didn't think it was noticeable.
No, because your skin started just radiating.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. And I thought you just started drinking more water. And
there you go. Yeah, very special water.
You started becoming like completely hairless. And I thought maybe that was just like what men of your age thought they were supposed to do for like manscaping. I didn't know what to.
And you got to remember, I was a really hairy guy, wasn't I, Kel? Yes. So, as I'm approaching, as I'm thinking about doing this, I'm bald. I'm 6 foot tall. I weighed close to 230 pounds. I'm extremely, I'm rather muscular, a little overweight,
well,
but
you got really shiny, and like you were already bald for so long. So when you started taking the hormones, and your skin looked so much better from it, it made your head like gleam. You know what I mean? Because you were completely bald.
Interesting.
So it was very obvious that something was going on, but I thought it was just you trying to like step it up because you were single,
doing that physical, getting in tune. But anyway, back to what the question was. I was quite nervous to do that. And because, I have no idea. I mean, I can hope what the reaction is going to be. And I can, make assumptions based on how our relationship was and everything, but you don't know. It's a roll of the dice. What's going to happen? Let's see, So I was quite nervous about doing it, but she couldn't have been any more supportive and made it so easy for me to explain it to her. And the cool thing was, once I did explain it, she was like, she wanted to know all about it. Yeah, let's go upstairs and see your stuff. Tell me what you're doing. How is this going to work? And she asked me like 100 questions, like right away, Wait, you're bald. How are you going to do that?
What makeup are you using? Teach me how to use it.
Yes. So, that's always been pretty interesting because who do you go to for makeup ideas, Kelly?
I have a great makeup routine right now as a recently turned 28-year-old woman. And I learned how to do my makeup from my phone. And I'm really comfortable with that because
it's pretty funny though.
Yeah, but you can't forget that my mother is a lesbian and has always been one, just the same as my dad has always been a lesbian. And I was just thinking about this. So I was touching up my makeup before we did this, and I'm like, it's so funny. I'm like, I look kind of like a tomboy because I'm in this like sports outfit right now. And I'm like, it's so funny. I get my tomboy side from my mom, and I get this like glitz and glamour, like diva side from my dad.
What's wrong with this picture?
What's wrong with that picture? I think it's a beautiful picture.
It is a beautiful picture.
I love that. I love that. Because who would have been better at being a diva than my dad? Nobody I've ever met. And even before I knew that you were trans, that would still be true. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I know what you mean.
Even before I knew mom was gay, that's would still be true. So I just think it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
So Kelly, what would you say to the other people who are watching this on how they can support someone who's transitioning in their life? And, you know, I know some people in your family have had, you know, a harder time with this than you have. And what can you say to people, or what advice can you give to other, you know, children of people who are transitioning and how to deal with that?
I think my biggest piece of advice for people that don't know how, or they're trying to navigate, is, and being someone that's, you know, not the person that's transitioning, but being a part of someone's life that is, I think the biggest piece to take away is think about what affects you. Like, you being the person that's not transitioning, you being the person that's adjacent to the life that is, right? What affects you? Like, is having this person that's important to you in your life suffering and being sad, does that affect you? Absolutely. Right? Like, before my dad was out and was able to talk about this, there was, you know, always a fear in me that there was something that wasn't being fulfilled, and that lack of fulfillment was scarier than any other reality that could have come about, right? And this might sound kind of harsh and blunt, but my whole thing is like, what do I care if my dad has certain parts or not other parts? How does that affect me at all? It does not, right? That makes you happy. You coming into this whole thing makes you happy. You not doing it made you so unhappy, which made me so worried. So just think about, my advice, I guess, would be about like the outcome of everybody just being supportive of what someone wants to do that only affects their life. Let that person be happy, because there's no harm. And if anything, the lack of embracing it is the most harm. It's one of the biggest causes for young people to not live to their full potential. So just think about the potential of happiness for this person that you care about versus denying.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. Thank you.
And Jessica, what has Kelly's support meant to you going through your transition?
God. I mean, it's having Kelly in my court. Kelly has been my number one advocate since day one. And it really has made going down this path so much easier, just knowing she's there, you know? I mean, because, you know, there's highs, there's lows, there's, you know, times where I'm just like, I'm never going to get through this and everything. But, you know, Kelly just unwavering support has been such a plus as I'm going through this process. So all I can say is thank you so much. You know, just thank you. So, I mean, and I have others in my family that I've been less supportive. So, which, you know, it wears on you, you know, in different ways, because it's, you know, and some of them, and Kelly articulated it so well there, some of them make it about them to some degree, you know, and I don't quite understand why they make it about them, because it really has nothing to do with them, you know. I mean, granted, they have to interact with me, but I'm Still me,
So,
you know.
right. Well, what is that? Yeah.
What do you think their biggest fear is?
Ooh, who's that question to?
Well, either of you. Like,
Go ahead.
what do you think that their biggest fear is is it a loss?
I think it's just like hysteria, like just it's like it just engraved. And I mean, I'm come from a generation that's been allowing this to happen. You guys are from a different generation where that's like kind of been engraved, you know, like even just being gay, like even if you were just like a female born lesbian, right? Like that would be hard to be existing that way. You know, like my mom has experienced the same kind of disconnect, right? And I've seen her lose people, but she you know, was I think my dad's honestly I think it's confusion. I think people just don't know how to understand it. I think people can understand being gay more than they can relate to being trans if they're not trans. Personally, I think everyone has the ability to be gay, you know, and I think that's a whole different thing, but you don't understand being trans unless you're trans.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica, would you agree?
Yeah, exactly.
Like and honestly, I'm thankful for this experience because when my mom came out first as a lesbian, and I was like, all right, well, you know, you're such a tomboy. You get really excited when there's cheerleaders on like the football game. Like, I'm pretty sure I already knew that you were a lesbian too, right? Wasn't surprised. And then with my dad, like, I wasn't shocked either, just because I'd been like putting things together for a while. But before that, like, I never understood transgender people. Like, that was my whole confusion. And I thought like the education of the like support for the whole community, like, right? Because it was like LGBT, like everything was wrapped in one, right? And I think now people are really, you know, it's still one community, but we're breaking it down so people can understand each sector, because it's not just like, oh, you're a gay dude or you're lesbian, right? Like there's so many more things that go into it. So I think it's just confusion that people just don't know how to relate to it at all, and it just miseducation, and it makes them feel weird. And I think for family members, I think like the family members that I have been close with, that I haven't seen support my dad in the way that I really would like them to. You know, like outside of, you know, immediate, like the extended ones that I'm disappointed with their lack of support. I think they are from the older generation that they're just like, no, like we couldn't even talk about like being gay. No. And maybe, you know what? It's a little bit of jealousy too, that they were never even able to like even just daydream for a second and consider, hey, is this something, like if you've never even considered being gay or being trans, then how do you know that you're not, you know? I mean, I know you know when you're trans, but like, you know what I mean? Like they couldn't even, their brains are so, and yours was too, you know, you were raised in a way that you couldn't even.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to think like that. That's half why it took so long in my life. I was taught that the thought of this was so wrong, you know?
So I think the acceptance part comes from just being trained for so long, like forever, just like, no, you know?
Jessica, what last piece of advice can you give to other people who are going through transition, and if they have daughters or sons, and you know, how to deal with their children?
Wow. Well, you know, I think over time, we're going to spend a lot more time talking about that, but I'll try to, you know, give you the Reader's Digest version for the moment. The first thing I would say to anybody transition is to get over worrying about everybody else. because even for me in the beginning, I was constantly worried about how others perceived me, whether it be just physical or excuse me, or any aspect of it. You got to get past that. You're not doing this for anybody but yourself. Excuse me.
Okay.
You're not doing this for anybody but yourself. And you have to please yourself first. If you can't please yourself, you cannot please others. I'm so sorry. Wow, you didn't need that in there. So that would be my my first thing I would tell them. And then as far as dealing with family and friends, you just have to be yourself. And you have to be willing to accept what they're comfortable with. And it may not be exactly what you want. It may be less. It may be more. You never know. But just accept what you're going to get back from whoever it is and just roll with it. Take it. That's what it is and move on with life. There's plenty of other people in the world to go talk to and be with. You're not going to live or die by the acceptance or non-acceptance of any one person.
Great advice. Well, thank you so much, Jessica and Kelly. This was wonderful. And I know that this interview is going to help other people and help relationships and families and bring people closer together.
Thank you so much for hosting today. This has been really fun. Kelly, thank you so much for coming. This is great.
Thank you. I'm happy to do it. It's an honor, really. So